Hey moms, welcome to the Mom Mindset Show where we talk all things mom life from A to Z. I'm your host, Rachel Benson. I'm a wife, a mom of 6, a grandma of 7, a real estate agent, and a life coach for moms. I've been through every age and stage of motherhood, and I've never met one I didn't like. I've also never met one that didn't come with its share of challenges and personal growth. As moms, we set the mood and tone of the home. We're the emotional support and the cheerleaders for everyone in the house, not to mention the cook, the chauffeur, and the housekeeper. There's a lot to know and do, and that's what I'm here to help with. I want to help you create the home and family life of your dreams, and I do that not only by helping you with the skill set, but more importantly, the mindset that can really help you succeed as a mom. Thanks for being here. Let's talk about what's on your mind today. Hey moms, welcome to the show. It's so good to be back with you again. I'm glad you're here. I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you're enjoying life, all the ups and downs of life and motherhood, and that you're managing and enjoying life. I have had a couple of those experiences lately that just remind you that life can be short and that life goes by fast. Our oldest daughter, who's not our oldest child, but our oldest daughter, turned 30 yesterday. And that's just one of those big birthdays in my mind. Like I wrote in my Mom Mindset A to Z book that 0 to 30 is kind of like growing up, growing into adulthood, getting your education under you, starting your career, starting your family maybe. And like 30 to 60 is a whole nother chunk of life where you grow your family and grow your career and do all those things. And I don't know, it's just kind of a big deal to think, wow, I have a child that age. And just to reflect on, raising her and her life. And she's overseas right now. So I was missing her and it was just a big, big day. Anyway, I want to revisit a topic I kind of brought up in a couple episodes not too long ago. That I really have been giving more thought and attention to. And I think it's a great topic for us to talk about as moms because it's something that can give us some real sense of kind of control over our lives. Like maybe the monkeys aren't always running the circus or whatever that phrase is, like can give us a sense that maybe we do have some control over our lives. And that topic is small daily habits. I talked about habits and created a free habit tracker to share a few episodes ago, and I will link to that again. And I'm going to try to find a place to put it on my website. I'm not super handy at stuff like that, but luckily my daughter Ellie is. So we'll find a place to put that you can go and just grab a copy of that if you want to, if that suits your style. But let's talk a little bit more about the idea of habits and some of the things that I have noticed as I have been tracking some of my daily habits. I think that something you hear about a lot in life is goal setting, which always kind of to my brain sounds like this big undertaking and can be really hard to commit to because usually it's something that's going to take, a long period of time, generally probably at least 3 months, and is going to require a big amount of commitment and like planning out the future that always seems a little like hard to manage when you are a mom and, new things are coming up all the time and you might plan to do something toward your goals, whether it's just organizing a space in your house or preparing for, maybe a race that you want to run in and something like that. And just life comes at you. You're up in the night with kids. You've got sick kids, or, people stayed home from school when you weren't expecting, or some of my friends and family in the, in the Tennessee, Arkansas, that kind of area, they, got snowed in unexpectedly for, I don't know if it was a week or 10 days, and they just don't know what to do with that, right? And it just changes everything. But with what I want to talk to you about today, small daily habits, this is something that we can maintain and build upon, even on those crazy days that, just kind of hit us out of the blue. Or maybe we shouldn't say that. Maybe we should just say, as moms, like we need to be prepared for anything, kind of expect the unexpected. And that can be kind of unsettling, especially for those of us who kind of like a sense of control over our lives and like to plan. So what I'm talking about in terms of small daily habits is things that you can commit to doing every day that just have an amazing compounding effect in terms of your health or your finances or your well-being or how well you're able to manage your household, things like that. There are so many little habits that if you just commit to those, some of which can be done in just a short amount of time, or as I'm going to illustrate in a few minutes, can actually even be done in bed. You can gain that sense of traction and satisfaction that, yeah, I am accomplishing certain things and things that matter, because as little habits compound over time, for good or bad, they really make a significant difference in our lives in the long term. And as I always say, when mom is doing it good, when mom is blessed, when mom is trying to improve, the whole family is blessed. There's a ripple effect out to the whole family. And just realizing that and recognizing that I am doing myself and my family a favor when I make the effort to do these little things that add up over time. So I want to give you some ideas about what some of those kinds of things could be that maybe you're already doing them, but you want to bring more attention and intention to them so that you can know that you're doing them consistently and making progress. And I suggest doing that by, making a mark in your planner or a habit tracker or, a note by your bed, checking something up. And sometimes even just starting to use a habit tracker or make a note of something in your planner that you've done it is a habit in and of itself, that if you'll establish that, it's really fun because just checking something off a list gives us all usually a feeling of accomplishment, and that gives us dopamine, which we all like. And hey, we don't have to get it from chocolate, so that's a bonus. Although, the chocolate dopamine can be nice too. So first of all, let's talk about the number one habit that probably can do more to improve your health and mood than anything else, and that is getting good sleep. And good news, you can do that in bed, if you didn't know that. And first of all, I can just see all the moms out there like groaning, eye roll, like, I cannot get good sleep. It's impossible. My kids wake me up in the night, or they get sick, or they get in my bed because they had a nightmare, things like that. And then you get older and hormones make it harder to sleep, or something you ate. It can be challenging. And so my first suggestion on that is to set I guess I'd call it a goal, but I don't mean a goal in the sense that we normally think about that, but make it your objective to get that sleep on the front end of the night. So by setting a bedtime that you could reasonably expect would allow you to get enough sleep if things go well, or even if they don't. Like, you might get the minimum, maybe 6 is your minimum. I know with me, 7 is good. 8 is like, I'm a new woman, like my mood and everything will improve dramatically if I can get 8 solid hours of sleep. I rarely get solid hours of sleep. I don't know about you, but I usually wake up at some point in the night, whether it's to go to the bathroom or something's on my mind, or I just get too hot or whatever. But anyway, it's so much easier to control that on the front end. and just say, I need to get in bed by this certain time, and know that that is going to do you a favor, because it's so tempting to stay up, long after the kids go to bed, or to think that you need to get up early so you can get things done. I'm doing that in air quotes, before the kids get up. There's a really popular book out called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And he suggests that if you will do certain practices every morning, which I won't get into all of them, but the acronym is SAVERS, and you can look that up if you're interested. But if you'll do these practices, whether you do them a minute, a minute or two each, or, take up to an hour to do things like movement and affirmations and reading, those kind of things. I think he calls it exercise, affirmations, reading, visualizing, that, you will just change the whole course of your day. And I am super in favor of doing all the things that he suggests. I'm just not super in favor of the idea for moms of pushing yourself to get up super early because you believe that if you don't do things early, you won't get them done. When I think it's really, really important for moms to protect their sleep and try to get a good amount of sleep so that you can function at your best during the day. And the idea that if I don't do things in the morning, I don't get them done is a really, really limiting belief, especially the kind of things he talks about in that book. Like, you can do an affirmation any time of the day. You can do a visualization any time of the day. You can read, if reading for you, like me, is listening to a book, you can do that, when you're doing the dishes. You can do it any time of day. And so telling yourself, I got to get up early to do that, with the exception of maybe like prayers or, meditation, things that you need to be sort of alone to do. Well, you can do that in the bathroom and no one will be any the wiser. You can take a few minutes for yourself at that time. Or when you're driving, I don't really meditate in the sense that I think people do, like trying to clear out your mind, but I am a good prayer, and I know that you can do that anytime, anywhere. And I do like to start my day also with scriptures, and for some people that looks like daily devotionals, or just reading something inspirational, personal development, that kind of stuff. And again, if you do want to do that first thing in the morning, just realize you can do that in your bed. So you can already cross off one of those things that's super beneficial and that you want to accomplish just while you're laying there in bed. So just for fun, I made a little list of things you can do in your bed or next to your bed. And for some of you, that's super important because maybe you're bedridden with a pregnancy or with a health issue. So I just want you to know that there are still things that you can do that will be meaningful and beneficial while you're just in bed. First of all, like I was just talking about, there's reading, there's breath work, doing deep breathing exercises, that kind of thing. I have a friend that works in, he's a psychologist, and he's done a lot of work in the world of biofeedback and helping people with anxiety. And they have found that one of the most effective things for managing anxiety is simply deep breathing. And he teaches people how to do that. So laying in your bed, you can do breath work. You can sit up in bed and drink water. You can pray or meditate or whatever kind of thought work you like to do, visualization. You can stretch. You can plan your day or check your calendar, and you can journal. You can obviously also get some social media time in if that's what you want to do. But I don't personally recommend starting the day that way. So I just want you to think about those things, because those are the kind of things that are little things that we think maybe won't really make a difference to our lives or have that big ripple effect that I was talking about out to your family. But honestly, they do. Journaling is one of the most effective things that we can do to manage our minds, to dump out our thoughts. And if you don't want to write in a journal, another thing you can do is talk into your phone, create a voice memo. If you get out for a walk, if you can, or lay in your bed and start talking, and then listen back to your thoughts and reflect on your thinking, and you will make some amazing discoveries about yourself that can really help you just clear out your mind. Literally, there is a connection between, writing things down and your mind, that it actually can get it out of your body. So that is one of the habits, the daily habits, that I really, really recommend starting. And ideally, the best kinds of habits can be done in like 2 to 5 minutes. So what I mean is, obviously you could take a lot longer than that writing in your journal, but you could also do a 1 or 2 minute journal entry. It can be a word, it can be a phrase, it can be, 3 things you're grateful for. It can be some one thing that was memorable about the day, or just something that you need to get off your chest and you don't even save it. But that is one habit that I highly recommend. Another one that I've personally started doing while sitting in bed in the morning is drinking 2 cups of lemon water. I'm trying to track my water drinking. I've always thought I was a really good water drinker. Like, if you ask me, I would say, oh, I drink my water like it's an IV drip. Like, I'm always drinking water, which is kind of true. If you know me, you won't usually see me without a water cup nearby. But when I actually started tracking it, I realized I was actually short of my goal, which would be probably 8 cups a day. And I'm finding that the first 4 go down really easy. And after that, I feel waterlogged. So kind of like, I don't really need any more water. I can drink those 2 cups when I first wake up, 2 cups around my exercise, and then it gets harder for me as the day goes on. And so one thing about daily habits is that if you can make them easy and obvious, this is one of the things they teach in the author of Atomic Habits, which is a wildly successful book about habit creation, teaches is make it easy and make it obvious. And so in the case of my water drinking, I got a 32-ounce Owala water bottle for Christmas, which I was excited about. I love it. It's white. I love things white and simple. But I am not jiving with that water bottle. Like, my previous water bottle that I carried everywhere was like 24 ounces, and that was about right. Like, I felt like I could get through that thing. This thing feels like a cavern. Like, I look in there and I'm like, oh my goodness, I still haven't finished this water bottle. So for me, that's not really a fit for that habit. I find it so much easier to sit down for lunch or dinner and have one small 8-ounce glass that I can easily drink with my meal. So for you, if water drinking is one of your habits that you want to do, for example, I would say find the container that makes that the most possible. Like, some people like a half gallon because they want to drink that half gallon in a day. They just want it all in one container and see if they can consume it throughout the day in their water bottles with hourly markings on them. And that is definitely one way to go about it. It's just been interesting for me to realize that that is not the good way for me. I almost feel defeated by the 32-ounce water bottle because it's a little too big. So just continuing on the theme of water drinking, this is one of those habits that is so simple and basic that it's easy to ignore all the benefits that can come from it. But literally, water drinking, just drinking tons of water, is the best thing you can do for your skin. It gives you feelings of fullness, so you're not having so many cravings. It is a million times better for you versus almost any other, well, really any other beverage that you could be consuming. And as I'm sure you know, our bodies are made up of mostly water. So we are taking care of every cell in our body with every cup of water that we drink. And it's one of the best things for just preventing illness, flushing out toxins. And there's just so many good reasons to do that. But it might seem like insignificant to have a goal for that, but it's really not. It's something that you will just continue to reap benefits throughout your entire life from. And those are the kind of habits that I want to talk to you about today that, can be accomplished in a couple minutes. In the case of water drinking, it's a couple minutes, 6 or 8 times a day. But there's so many others that we can also do in just a couple of minutes that will literally reap benefits throughout our lives if we keep doing them throughout our lives. So here are a few that I love as daily habits, because if you do these things daily, you can stay on top of them versus catching up on them. And if you think about it, things like doing the dishes daily, like start to finish, the dishwasher's empty at the end of the day or first thing in the morning, to start the day being able to keep up with the dishes. Because what is grosser than like dishes that have been sitting? My husband likes the let it soak method, and I'm just like, oh no, just wash it. It will be easier to do it right now. I mean, it's easy for me to say when he's the one doing the dishes, but personally, I don't like to dip my hands, even in gloves, into cold water with like old, I don't know, spaghetti sauce or something. That just is so much worse. Or if I make a green smoothie in the morning, which is one of my new daily habits for the last few months, I do not want to revisit that green smoothie crusted on my blender, right? So making a daily effort to just keep up with those things as you go to the greatest extent possible is such a blessing. And it saves so much time, because cleaning off crusted dishes and like doing big piles of them all at once takes so much more time than doing them as they come, or once a day, or whatever system makes sense for you. And another thing is, like, when it comes time to make meals, especially dinner, if we have a sink full of dishes or even a clean dishwasher that we then can't load, like, that creates more work. So as moms, we might just be like, yeah, I should do the dishes. But really, that's one of those great habits that you can work towards establishing if you don't already have it, that can help things just flow smoother in the house. And as moms, that is the best feeling, when we feel like we are running our household well and that things are running smoothly. So there's dishes. A lot of people swear by 1 load of laundry a day, and kind of depending on your laundry needs, I think that is a great system to do 1 load of laundry start to finish each day, or every other day if you don't have a lot, or 2 a day if you have a lot. But this was one thing that just had me in fits when I was a younger mom with 6 kids. Like, it would just pile up incessantly. And I think I just told myself, like, I'll never catch up on it. And this is just kind of the way it is, or the way I am. And that, you wouldn't realize it necessarily, but that is a mindset thing. That is a way of thinking that was not helpful to me. And if I had just said, yeah, you know what, I can take care of 1 load a day, that would have relieved so much mental stress for me, rather than always feeling like I was coming from behind. Our laundry situation's entirely different now because there's just the 2 of us. But, even then, we can turn it into a bigger or a smaller job if we leave things sitting, So making a little goal to do that 1 load a day, or establishing that daily habit, again, is how long does it take to wash and dry a load? Like, start to finish, is that like 15 minutes from start to finish? Sorting, putting it in, doing it, and getting it folded and back to wherever it goes. Really, total is 15 minutes. But if you let things sit, you've got wrinkled laundry that now needs to be ironed, and people can't find things when they need to get dressed. And it compounds against you, where establishing a daily habit of doing it compounds in your favor. So let's move on to some others. I asked my sister-in-laws about some of their daily habits, and I heard a lot of daily exercise. One sister-in-law said, just making my bed every day has been a game changer for me. I love that. And I totally agree with her. That is one of those like 1-minute habits that tells your subconscious, I'm the kind of person that gets out of bed and starts my day with a made bed. And that can really feed into a self-concept of being a person who, sweeps up crumbs as soon as they get on the floor, or, takes care of the little things as you go, cleaning up after yourself as you go. And that is, easier said than done, but it's an effort worth making, because it's so nice when you go through your home, if you're like taking the time to put away the curling iron or, brushes, makeup, whatever you got out to get ready for the day, and just taking that additional 30 seconds to put it away behind you. Any of those things are such beneficial daily habits to work towards. Another one is like skincare. Taking care of your skin pays dividends into literally your whole life. When I was in my probably 20s, maybe late 20s, I heard that you should always moisturize your neck. And I did that, but I still found that I got to a certain point in life and I was like, what happened to my neck? Like all this loose skin. And now YouTube always feeds me ads for that. And so I don't know what I needed to do differently, but I wish I had been more conscientious over the years about sunscreen, like a daily habit of sunscreen. And now they have all these nice tinted sunscreens that almost work like a foundation. But, I didn't take that as seriously as I could have. And now it's kind of paid dividends against me. Anyway, so I hope that you will establish even the simplest skincare routine. I mean, I know there are so many amazing lotions and potions out there, but I've heard the saying, it's the magic isn't in the potion, it's in the motion or something like that, or in the lotion. It's meaning that it's the daily habit of taking care of your skin more than what particular products you're using. I think we all know what kinds work for us and what ones dry us out and what ones give us breakouts and things like that. And that can change over time. But I was surprised in the past, having taken, I think about 3 of my kids had some really bad, acne and stuff in their younger, middle teenage years. And we went to the dermatologist with all of them, and they were like, just wash your face with, I don't know, Neutrogena or this Basis soap, or, they told them just use the simplest form of skincare, wash your face, moisturize, and don't use a bunch of fancy products. And their skin dramatically improved with that, and some medication that they took. And, now they're in their, 20s-ish, and they all have really good skin. And so I kind of took that to heart too. You don't need fancy, expensive products, but you need a daily skincare routine. So I'll get ready to wrap up, but there are just a couple more that I want to mention that have been super beneficial for me and helped me recognize the power of doing little daily habits. And one is the daily money saving practice that I started a while ago that I have mentioned before. But this one has continued to amaze me how it's built upon itself. And one of the things I put in the habit tracker is how much I've accumulated as I've set aside that little bit of money each day. And that is such, have you ever heard of a virtuous cycle? There's a vicious cycle and there's a virtuous cycle, a positive reinforcing habit that just, the more I do it, the more I want to do it, because I see the clear direct benefit and I see it every day. And doing it every day is so much simpler than being like, okay, we've got to take hundreds out of each paycheck to put into our savings. Although we do have a savings plan kind of like that in our budget. I am finding the daily savings practice to be really motivating, and it gets me into my bank account every single day. And actually recently, this has been even a bigger benefit than I had expected, because my husband and I were talking about our finances, and a lot of times, since I'm self-employed, he'll go to do a big push on the taxes about this time of year. And he'll be asking me, like, what did you spend this money on back in July and, in your business account? I'm like, I don't know. And there are things that don't necessarily run through that account. And that if I had kept track daily, which I'm sure some of you business owners out there are like, duh, you have to do that. You have to log your mileage. You have to log your expenses. And so it's one of those things I know but don't practice. But since I'm already in our bank account every day, I have started using my banking software, the budget software that's built in to categorize expenses. And now I'm starting to do it with my business account too, and take note of things on a daily basis, because, I just get so frustrated when he starts asking me. I'm grateful to him for doing the taxes, but it's stressful for me when he wants me to go back 6 months in my memory and come up with some expenses that, I can't remember the amount, where I spent, what I spent. And so he said, I think we need to do this weekly. And I was like, yeah, let's definitely have a weekly meeting, but I'm also going to do it on a daily basis. And again, that might sound tedious, but I would ask you, which is more tedious, taking a couple minutes a day to take a look at your finances and see where you're at and categorize budget items, or trying to do it monthly? Did we stick to our budget this month? Were our expenses and our income what we expected? To me, that's tedious and overwhelming, and I don't get it done. But daily is empowering and simple. And my word of the year is simplify. So I'm just really going with that. And for me, simplifying means doing things daily. So before I belabor that point, the one other thing I'm just going to mention now, and then I really want to invite you to think about, what daily habits do you already have that you want to capitalize on and really make sure you do them consistently. And also we're going to talk for a minute about what ones you might want to break. But anyway, another one that I have found really helpful over the years, and I'm about to talk about logging your food, which can also be known as calorie counting, which I know is kind of a triggering topic for some people. So just skip ahead a minute or so if you don't want to hear about this. But if you're okay listening, I think this is a great daily habit that all of us can benefit from, meaning logging your food on a daily basis. And I used to think that sounded so tedious, but that truly held me back from learning about what I was eating and how it was impacting my weight and my health and my energy level. And I wasn't being honest with myself about what I was eating. And then I was not totally happy with my weight. And then my husband got some tests done and found out that he needed to be, more careful about eating too much saturated fat. So then I really needed that information. And so for the last while, I really started paying attention to what I was eating and logging my food. And wow, it's so enlightening. It's so empowering. And I really think it's important. If you lose your health, none of the rest of this stuff matters. If you get into a health crisis because you're not taking care of yourself, man, it puts life on hold in a big way. And, I got inspired by some other people's examples. I was listening to a YouTuber talk about how she had lost 80 pounds in a really, really healthy weight over the last year. And she just said, I found my safe and effective calorie deficit, and I just didn't go over that number. And she did it by, learning to cook healthy meals and eat lots of vegetables and that kind of thing. And I also read listened to a book by Carrie Underwood called I believe it's called Find Your Path. And I was so surprised to learn that Carrie Underwood, one, is super, super into journaling, and two, that she logs what she eats and her workouts every single day of her life. And while that may sound extreme, when you hear about her life, I mean, everyone knows she has a big career in music, and she's a mom, and she has a lot to manage, and she wasn't always that way. She grew up in the South eating literally like fried hot dogs, so she did not know how to take care of herself when when she grew up and went on American Idol and all of that. And she started to learn, and it just became a huge passion of hers to eat well and to get daily exercise. And she even has a line of fitness apparel and her own fitness app. And I was just really inspired by her example, because I could see that she's reaping so many benefits of like taking care of herself on a daily basis again. And, she mentioned several times, like, I don't want to have to play catch up when it's time to go to an awards banquet and awards show, and I want to wear a certain dress. Like, that's really hard to do safely and in a way that's healthy, right? And so she does, again, that daily practice, and that makes all the difference. So I think, we've covered that point, but one thing I haven't talked about that I just want to leave you to think about is we've talked about habits that compound in a positive way, but I want to just ask you to think about also any habits that you might have right now that are compounding in a negative way. And maybe it hasn't totally caught up with you yet, but there are some habits that we all know that we should work on, that we should maybe, give up. Maybe things that we're drinking or eating too much of or too regularly. Or maybe it's losing patience and yelling at our kids, or being late all the time, or overspending, or spending too much time on social media, too much time watching other people live their lives and not living our own. And, I'm calling myself out here as much as anyone, but I think the way that we can know if a habit is good or bad is if we have like a really good feeling, like, wow, sense of accomplishment. I did that. I drank my water. I saved my money. I logged my food. I got to bed on time. I took care of my skin today. Whatever it is, those will give us a really positive feeling. And there's little habits that we also have when you're like, oh, I shouldn't. But for me, that's like going through the drive-thru at McDonald's and getting a Coke, not even Diet Coke, the real thing, because their Coke is so good. My daughter introduced me to it last year. I really had almost never had it in my entire life, like real Coke. I'd had Diet Coke, but I don't really like soda that much. So I wasn't really, I didn't have a soda drinking habit, but then I started to want that all the time. And I was just like, wow, what's the compounding effect of this habit? I don't really want to start this in my 56th year of life, So if we're having those little moments when our conscience is pricked and is like, yeah, this isn't serving me, this money I'm about to spend on clothes that I don't need to, something like that, we should listen to our intuition and maybe find a way to fulfill that need for that drink, or that spending, or that spending too much time on social media kind of hole in our lives, and look at what that's about. It's actually a really good topic for coaching. So I'll just leave it out there that you can go on my mom-mindset.com website, and there's a little button in the corner that says Get Coached, and the best way to do that currently is just to write in an anonymous question, and I can answer that for you. And you can always email me, Rachel at mom-mindset.com, and I'm happy to answer your questions and help you out. Also, just love to hear what you think about this topic. So thank you for being here. I hope this has been beneficial and got you thinking. You can get the habit tracker, or you can just find one and print one out that works for you on Canva, or just Pinterest. I'm sure there's millions of them. But anyway, it's been great being here with you today, and I will talk to you next time. Hey Mama, thanks for listening to the show today. If you enjoy the ideas I share on my podcast, but you want some help applying them to your personal situation, I want to invite you to learn more about my coaching program, where I talk to moms on a personal basis through one-on-one coaching and group calls. We can talk about anything from the personal challenges that you're experiencing in marriage or motherhood to the goals and dreams that you have for yourself. To find out more and download a copy of my free book, Mom Mindset A to Z, visit mom-mindset.com. I'd love to see you there.